The
We're
recording
recording
pop
now.
is out. Ooh,
Yeah, we're
ooh,
live.
ooh, I love the moment where like the rush of the first people come in because it's just
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of crazy. It's like a Black Friday sale at Walmart or something. You open the doors and people just rushed in.
Everyone at
Uh,
once.
yeah,
back in the day, that used to be the scariest place on earth.
I'm so glad they toned that down.
Me
It just
too.
got wacky, right? It was
Yeah.
just
At
too
each
much,
other.
way too much pressure to go and try to get a VCR or
Yeah.
whatever the young people are buying today.
The TV was the big thing, or like the
Right.
kid's hot toy.
The kid's hot
Yeah.
toy. Like if you're running and you're punching another person for a Tickle Me Elmo or something, you
Yeah.
gotta step back a little bit and check your priorities at the
Maybe
door.
reevaluate yourself.
Yes. I will do a quick welcome to everybody that's jumping in. Like we said, kind of rushing through the doors here as we're beginning. We had a lot of people sign up, so we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get ready to join us here for
Guys, do that.
our panel discussion on better booth experience at Expo. So excited to be here with a bunch of smart people, including all of our participants as well. But going to dive into some fun topics and hopefully learn a few new things for everybody on how to go about preparing yourself for those Expo moments at these big events, or even the small events. I mean, little table. It's all taking advantage of this time you have in front of the users in our community is important. So we'll give maybe just another minute or two. We'll get started here just a little bit after the 5-minute mark with our great set of panels here. Maybe we can actually go ahead and start while we're doing this with our introductions. I think we could. That seems appropriate. I'll start with myself real quickly, and then move around the circle here. My name is Bobby Small, and I work with Doug, Dynamics User Group. I'm a community director here, and I've been in the Microsoft Dynamics channel for about 25 years as an end user and a partner, and now with the community, and just really excited to keep providing opportunities for us to help you grow and learn as you work your way through the community. So I'll kick it over to Bree, who is on my right or left or somewhere in the panel.
Hi everyone, my name is Brianna Sierra. I am member manager here at Doug. So what that means is I make sure that our sponsors are taken care of, including programs like Team Up and Dynamics Con. So super excited to hear about these ladies' sponsorship experience and talk a little more about the Dynamics Con experience. And yeah, that's me.
Let's drop right down to Sam. On my screen, she's right below you there.
Hey everybody, I am Sam Bush and I am our partner marketing lead here in North America for a company called Netstock. Been in the Microsoft channel for about 13, this will be 14 years. And I am a podcast host of a podcast called Ambush on Air, which you can find on Spotify and Apple Music.
Love it. And then we'll slide over to Alana.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Alana Ashurst. I'm the partner marketing manager at Dynamic Web. I've been with the company for about a year now and in the channel for about a year. So I'm a baby, but my past experience has definitely given me a lot of practical application to this channel. So it's been great. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. I also host through Dynamic Web a podcast. It's called Dynamic Leaders, and it's been really exciting. So I'm just excited to have this conversation and it be live. And yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, I love all the podcasts, by the way. I feel like
Yeah.
if you don't have a podcast, you're the unicorn now. I'll kick it over to Beth.
I'm Beth Clarkin. I'm coming from True Commerce. We are a supply chain organization. And Alana stole my thunder. I was going to say, I'm the baby. I've only been in the channel for a year as well. 13 months to be exact. But in that time, I've really learned to love this community. It is truly a community and it's so much fun being there. So I'm so happy to be part of this panel.
Cool. And it's going to be a fun conversation. A lot of topics to cover. And we kind of just started. I don't know what that means. We kind of decided to start from the beginning of, deciding on events. Let's kick it around. Beth, when you're looking at events, what are some key factors that you would think of when you're deciding if you're going to go to an event or not?
Mm-hmm. So it really depends. We were coming into it. True Commerce has been at or sponsored at the ERP publisher. So not just Microsoft, but Sage, SAP, Acumatica, NetSuite, all the above. So last year we really actually upped our presence, and it was as we had more people join the channel team, it was, oh, I know about this conference or this conference. So it was within our budget, how do we decide what we go to? And it's, well, how many people are going to be there? How many of our partners are going to be there? Have we done something in the past? Are we known here? So it's really kind of, how much can we get from a brand standpoint? How much can we get from a pipeline generation? What would it really look like? And so now it's just kind of, we're trying to be everywhere is what it is. And then it's, does our budget allow this? That's what
there's
it's
so many great events. It's like TV shows, like streaming. It's like, what do I even know to watch anymore? What event do I pick to go for? There's so many great events.
Exactly.
I think I add something on that. I think we do the exact same thing, really. But I think one of the things we've realized with we are very Microsoft Dynamics focused. So those are the events that we focus on mostly. And then we'll sometimes go to industry focused events. So those aren't ERP specific. And I think with those ones, it's really about who are you talking to at the event? Like who from the other company, from the end user will be at the event kind of determines if we want to go to that event or not. For instance, there was an event with one of our industries, I guess, is like RVs that we focus on. And there was an RV event in Tampa. I think it was a couple like last month in January, but it was all individuals that wanted to buy an RV. And I think you just have to be like understand who's going to actually be at the event. Because if you just hear RV event and you just sign up for it and like want a table at it, and then everyone's coming, like there's no one that would even like purchase your product. Totally. It wouldn't make sense to go to that event. You have to be specific and who's going to be there from that industry.
Yep. And NetStock's also kind of broad, not just Microsoft. So you've got a broader selection too.
Yeah, we're very big on the ERP publisher shows. We go to every single one of those with a pretty big presence. But then we found a lot of value, at least on the partnership team, from a networking perspective and bringing on new partners and recruiting partners in some of the smaller regional shows. So when I first hopped on, Ryan and I were talking about one that's in Columbus here next month, and that's of high value to us because you get smaller, not one-on-one time, but very close to time with some of our partners. So being on the partnership team, I'm really focused on how do we meet our partners at events they're at that also have end users, right? So it's like a double whammy, because we can't just go to an event and say, we're only here to meet partners, right? I need to bring leads to the sales team just as much as I need to bring them to the channel team.
Yeah.
And if I may, sorry, I know I already answered, but actually to piggyback off what Sam said, because my mind is always the one track sponsoring. But with those smaller shows, we have made it a point that my team is flying all over the country to attend the shows. Like I have someone literally just flying to Colorado for the night to be at a show.
Yeah.
And so
she's there right now.
Yeah, there you go. Like we always find the value in those as well. Like a presence is huge.
Yeah. So it does lead me to kind of I'll call it a lightning rod question. It's an interesting one, and I'm just jumping a different topic that I want to get to. But since you brought it up, there's a difference in going to these events for leads and going for brand building, and just So what's your feeling on that, Sam? As far as like how much of this do you like openly admit that, hey, this is just brand building? Or is there any pushback ever? Because there could be like, why are we doing this? There's zero leads or whatever, but there is a value in being at these events, even if it's one person. So what's your feeling on brand building versus I need to get leads generated or some type of contact?
I think there's a period of time when you launch an integration with a publisher where you have got to go in and say it's brand only. You've got to be realistic with the market you're entering in. So that's something that can be an easy conversation with some leadership, and others it's definitely an uphill battle.
Right.
So I am all about building brand. NetStock, prior to me joining, I think you guys saw 2024, they were everywhere doing everything, right? We were doing every party. That exposure was really important to us because we had just launched some changes to our F&O integration and our BC integration. This year, we just launched an AI pack that's really comprehensive on all of our solutions. So again, we're focused on building brand for those new products. So we're going to be doing the same thing that we did last year when it comes to building brand. I will do a shameless plug really quick. So when it comes to driving demand at events and driving actual pipeline, I hate the word leads when it comes to events. I don't care at all the number of scans that we get. I actually get pretty upset if we have a high number, because there's no chance that all of those are purchase power and partners who have users who want to use us and all of that. So I'm more focused on that did we meet 10 partners that could multiply by 10? And did we meet at least one or two prospects truly? I think that's where our value is most focused at events. And I will be talking about this at DynamicCon, the partner event day. I have a speaking session that is about events. It's actually called Event Marketing Mastery, which sounds crazy, but you will get a template that typically I charge for, but you will get that for free if you come to that session. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on branding versus? I agree with you. I said leads, and I also hate it. It feels like gross saying it. Because it's compartmentalizing people in a way that I don't do at events. Like when I was at Ellipse, to me, it's more about relationship building with each person, whether it's a end user or a partner or an ISV or Microsoft or the person helping out, to clean up the event afterwards, whatever. Just relationship building with everybody that you're in contact with is I think a healthier way to look at it. But it's still about some branding there.
You've got an interesting group here because we're all on partner marketing, right? So we're focused on those aspects of the event. Whereas we still have a marketing team that either we report to or dotted line to, in my case, that we still have to say, hey, we got this many leads, right? So it's how do you come to the same communication style with your CMO or your director of demand to say, we're looking for the same thing.
So I can answer that from my perspective. I have very much been building the case of our getting that brand recognition is just at sometimes, if not more important than the leads. But we're also not even like, yes, the number of leads is great. We're looking at the pipeline. Give me one lead that can cover the pipeline of what we want. So yeah, like I don't want that. I don't want those 100 scans. Like I want, give me 5. And if they all convert to pipeline, fantastic. But so for us, and I'll use the example of DynamicsCon. We were a very small sponsor last year, and because of the venue, we didn't like the location. I know that's fixed for this year, which is fantastic, but we also wanted that level up. So we've taken all of last year to kind of really see where we want to be with the levels. And we've realized, obviously the pipeline is great. We need the exposure, and that's where the brand comes to play. So we're trying to keep leveling up again within budget to be as high a sponsor as we can be. So another example, at a different ERP show, we took the highest sponsorship, and it was fantastic because you could literally see the logo of our company from anywhere in the room. And we were doing a scorecard game, which I'm stealing a thunder of another question. And there was a company on there who was not the high sponsor, and everyone was asking where they were. We don't know where they were. So that alone, my chief revenue officer was there, and I said, you see this value? You see our name up there? That's where we're getting in front of this.
Yeah.
Love that timing.
I also think that like consistency when it comes to branding is so important. Like I know for DynamicsCon, like we have a few opportunities pre-event, like the virtual swag bag. You create your offering that has your colors, plays into any type of branding scheme that you have. And then when people show up to the event, they're like, oh, they had this virtual swag bag offering. Let me find those colors. And you make that connection. So I think consistency, even pre-event to post-event, is super important when it comes to branding.
Yeah. I think I can add something from the beginning of the question, kind of just like what makes it why do we attend these events, and like kind of like how do we participate in them, in the sense like we were attending DynamicsCon, just attending it. So we were just our presence was just known through conversations rather than branding. And for us, that also is branding. We're really big on people focus. Like we have our channel managers and those that are on the floor are we want them to be known for our brand, like our brand. Like when Anne Marie is a great example. I don't know if you know who she is. You probably do if you're in the channel, because she talks to everyone, and like we love that. We want to be known for those that have good conversations, and I think that even leads us to to leads for us, it's like we want to get the scans we do, but at the same time as we want to have good conversations. So it's not just how many scans you can get, but it's like how many good conversations did you have out of those scans? And we make sure that we take notes. I think something that's really practical for those that are listening is coming in with a strategy of like, do you like coming in with the idea at first, is this brand awareness or is this lead generation or is it both? And then how are you approaching that? Do you have meetings set up with specific partners at the event? Do you know who's going to the event? Have you looked into it more than just your presence there, but have you looked into who's coming to the event? I think those are all like really important things that Dynamic Web has done at each event that I've been to in the last year. And then even with our presence, like we've been growing. So for one event, we might attend it for a year or two. And then now we have a booth at Dynamics Con this year. And now we have a speaking session at the partner marketing event. I actually have a speaking session. It'll be my first one ever. Strategy isn't just for marketing campaigns. And this is exactly that. We're talking about what is the strategy to come to an event or to have a partner relationship. So, yeah.
Perfect. That's a great way to bring this back around to Bree. I'll ask you because you're involved in a lot of this now with our first year with an Expo Hall, like you've alluded to. Dynamics Con has had more of a sponsor areas at times as we've grown, but now excited to be in this space where we'll be able to provide a proper Expo Hall experience. But going about booth selection and booth size, placement, configuration. Let's just talk a little bit about how important that is. So, Bria, we'll kick it off with you just as you're getting ready to tee this up and talk to these folks about them selecting booths. So just start us off on kind of how that process works, and then love to hear your feedback from the panel here on how you go about finding that booth spot.
Yeah, so this is Dynamics Con first Expo Hall, so super exciting. So far, I've been helping our sponsors do booth selection over the past few months, and I've seen a few different strategies for different companies. So, for example, I want to be near the entrance. I want to be near the Big Doug booth. I want to be near the Microsoft booth. So everyone really has a different strategy for what kind of traffic they want to pick up. So I'll pass it over to the experts and what they specifically like to choose when finding their locations. That's what I've seen so far.
Yeah, Beth, why don't you chime in?
Yeah. So when we were choosing the Dynamics Con booth, one of my channel managers and I were kind of walking through it and perfectly said, there's the entrance. We want to be near the entrance. But it was also, here's one of our partners who's already chosen. Let's be next to them. That would be great. And so the other thing is there are some times when you have to choose your booth for the next year before that show even happened. And so that's also super tricky. And it depends when you are or where you are in choosing it. And so for that specific show, I said, well, here are my three choices. I want to be next to this activation. I want to be in this bigger slot. I want to be near the entrance. But it's also, we got to keep in mind, where is my biggest competitor? And if they choose beforehand, what size are they? Look, they downgraded. We're the bigger now. That's better for us. So it's exactly what Bree said of we're near the entrance. Maybe we want to be next to Microsoft, want to be next to Doug. We want to be next to our partner. So that's definitely what we consider.
Yeah.
I have kind of two different things that I focus on, which one of them might be counter. I like to be by my competition. I want to be across from them if I can.
You stare them down.
Mainly because I just want to see, like, definitely catty corner is what works best.
Yeah.
Mainly because I want to see who they're talking to and then make them talk to my team, right? Like, I won't know what leads they're getting if I can't see them. And that's just the competitive spirit in me. Doesn't go well at some companies. But in my last company, it was like a major goal of ours. It was like, let's wait until they pick so that we can be like, I want to see every single person they're talking to because they're our exact same ICP. And I don't want to miss an opportunity to talk to that guy in that blue sweater because he was talking to them for 30 minutes. Right?
Maybe they stumble upon you because they didn't know you. You're somewhere across the way. So it's not, again, it's interesting that, chatting it through, but they can see, there's another company that we want to talk to that's kind of what we're looking for.
And like the brand wasn't big yet. So it was like, nobody really knows us yet. So it's like, how do we get that visibility with people we know are in our target for the same amount of money we'd get if we were across the expo hall, right?
I was going to say, I was literally just picking a booth for right before this first show that Sam herself was standing was literally in between our company and our competitor.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to figure out
Yeah.
what do we do and why do we not want to be near them. And the reason I'm saying we don't want to be near them is because we get a lot of steals from them. And so
Yeah.
their customers
that's different.
don't want to see that don't want them to see that they're coming to approach us. If they're behind us, we're catty corner, like
There you go.
can I be a little farther away? Great. But Sam can tell you, she was right smack in between.
I was. I sure was. I sure was. And I was like, this is a little bit awkward. So I think it just depends on your dynamic in your space too.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
time.
definitely. There's some spaces that are like way more competitive and a little bit more ruthless. So
Yeah.
I think in that sense, like we don't really want to be near our competitors. We try to like
Yeah.
stay in a different area. I think something that Beth mentioned earlier though was just kind of like the timing, I think is something that more so Dynamic Web focuses on when it comes to picking your booth space in the area. I think that we try to do it as soon as possible. Like when we have the opportunity to sign up for Dynamics Con or any of the other community events, if it's like the day they say we can do it, we'll do it. So that we're like exactly where we want to be. And then I also noticed we try to also, so within like the map or like the maze, we'll try to be like on a corner or near an entrance. And even sometimes near the bathroom, like it's uncomfortable, but like, those areas where there's like high populated people, is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
Corners, you
one-
guys like corner booths?
Yes. We love a
And
corner.
food. People like food too, to be near food and beverage stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
food and beverage. But a corner next to an aisle, that's kind of pretty
Sweet
good.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say the weirdest thing, which is, if you've been to any of my speaking sessions, I love human psychology, human behavior, all of that stuff. One thing that I learned, which once you hear this is like, you'll know my secret sauce, but now you'll recognize it when you go to conferences and you'll be freaked out. People enter conferences from left to right. So when they come in that front door, unless they recognize someone immediately, they're going to the left. Immediately when they're walking through, they're going left to right so that they can make the whole expo. And when
Interesting.
you notice it happen, you'll be so freaked out, but it is dead on every time. So if you just stand at the entrance of an expo hall and that flood of like the morning sessions are over, the door is open, literally everyone goes in and goes to the left because you read right from left. You start right from left. So just watch it and be really freaked out when you see it.
Yeah,
Sam has
that's
given us an Expo Hall brainworm to take with us today.
Yeah.
That's,
I
that's,
always-
that's
I'm gonna
learning
do
objective
Hall on
number
Monday.
one.
Now I'm gonna be standing next to the entrance staring there, and then I'm
She's gonna have a
text you something,
tally.
like, thanks.
Why
for
isn't
that."
Beth getting anything done? She's just staring at everybody that comes in and
I'm
freaking
gonna,
out.
like, watch
Do a
and
survey
learn.
for
It's
us.
weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. And then you always have the outlier people, the rogue people, the ambushers who are going to go the other way. But
Yeah.
your
Like I'm that
general
person. I
path
don't
of
know.
people is that way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I love it.
One of the things I wanted to mention too, just about like expo booth location, I think also just the importance of like the actual booth. One of that our company is really particular on is like what's happening in the booth. So when it comes to the words that are on your signage, are they simple enough to read quickly? Where are your tables in the booth? Are you at an eye level with everyone that's walking by? Or are you like sitting down as if you're at a desk? Those are the things that can make it like comfortable or uncomfortable, or your booth approachable, not just like location, but what's actually going on inside of it. And then
Right.
and then for your employees, like, do you have padding in your booth? I think that's something my boss mentioned, like carpet is important for these shows. So like make sure you have good carpet.
Standing
Good
for 10
padding.
hours a day. Yes.
If you don't have booth padding and you're in marketing and you do this for a living, your team hates you. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They're like, turn bad. Like, go ahead and just spend the extra coin for the padding.
Yeah. So speaking of prepping, what about like team prep? So the people that are going to be there, do you go about any team prep leading up to it? Like, here's how we're going to handle booth traffic. Here's how we're going to approach, giving away whatever our games are, swag. Is there pre-gaming, a lot of pre-gaming?
Yes. I
Yeah.
can mention that really quick. For us, like we'll have a few meetings beforehand, again, like choosing like which partners do we want to, that we know for a fact, of course, we want to talk to all of our partners, but there's strategic partners that we want to make sure we have meetings with. We'll make sure we plan that out. We'll even schedule those meetings ahead of time. Are we going to meet at our booth or maybe somewhere in the arena? And then we also, when it comes to the different positions in our booth, like last year during one of the events, we had this dynamic duos little, I think we're going to get to this and kind of cheating at mentioning what drives booth traffic for us, but we had this little like Polaroid camera where we take pictures with each other, and then we would put it on a bulletin board, and like everyone would walk by and see kind of who we are connected with in the community, which was really nice. But I remember we had to have like a certain person on that, you know, to make sure that people were participating in it, or like someone by our fact sheets. So when someone came by, we would communicate that, just knowing like where your team is going to be and having that in advance. So you're not just, you know, you're utilizing you're taking as much value from the event as possible.
Yeah, because it gets out of hand quickly. If there's anybody on that hasn't done one of these, especially at a large scale,
Yes.
Yeah.
you have these great plans, and if you don't have them solidly locked in, you get there and all of a sudden you're like blink and what? It's over? I didn't do all these cool things and I forgot to do all this stuff because it just happens and it's so frenetic, and then it's over and it's still fun, but you're missing out on maybe some of the things you wanted to accomplish.
Yeah. Like I'm depending on the show, we're planning 6 months ahead. Like I'll start like bi-weekly meetings, then we'll go to weekly meetings. And next thing I know, the show's a month away. And I'm like, what happened here? But it's not just the booth presence that we're talking about. It's the speaker session. It's your schedule. And it is how many meetings with partners do you have? Okay, did you write this down? Do you plan on going to sessions? We need to make sure we have booth coverage. We need to make sure someone can speak to this. There's so many little nuances, and you want to make sure they're over prepared and over communicate. So a lot of times there are people who've never been to a show. I was doing 3 months, at least 3 months in advance, 4 months, and I had to say the same thing to the same people over and over again and explain the importance of why they needed to be like stay an extra day to go to a certain thing. And then it finally clicked for them and they actually got a really good opportunity off of that. We're like, okay, I get it. So it's like you gotta hammer it home, and that prep, the over communication is so important.
Yep.
I'm gonna again sound like the crazy marketer in the room. I have a certification that I put people through. I haven't introduced it yet to NetStock because I've only been here 3 months. I'm getting the lay of the land before I get to.
I picture it having a big giant ambush stamp on it or something at the end, like
basically
they just get
like,
it right on their
you're allowed.
forehead, and you're done. You're certified. You can move forward. Yeah.
So in my last company, we were selling to accountants by accountants. So an accountant personality sometimes is not the one who's going to be the best at the booth. So how do you educate them on how to interact, what to say when someone walks by, how to not be on their phone the whole time in the back corner because that's their comfort, right?
Yeah.
So thinking of the people on your team and then creating a map for them to be successful at the event, I think is really critical. I don't have that same situation here at NetStock. Most of our events that we do is the channel team, and that's what we do as a living. So it's very different. But I will be going to my first industry show with NetStock, actually ProMat, in 2 weeks. So that's my first like view on how we do events outside of just those ERP publisher shows. But yeah, I do a full certification, and then I do a high and low at the end of every single day that I make everybody stand at the booth and say, what was your best? What was your worst of the day? I go over the schedule, and then I email all the stakeholders with those highs and lows every single day.
Awesome.
So you know, when you're at that booth, if you don't have a high and low, it's going to be on the list that goes to our CEO, and he's going to see you didn't have a high of the day. What were you doing? And it's just a level of accountability that I think can be scary if you say it kind of like that, but I think it's actually really helpful for the people at the booth to remember what they actually did those days when they come back, right?
I mean,
sometimes you forget about that little chat.
You've invested so much money as a company, and you've got this in a short period that goes by so fast. If you're not doing these things, then yeah, you're likely not taking full advantage. And I'll move on to a new subject, but I will button this with. Yeah. There's nothing worse than, I think somebody put it in comments. I mean, the phone fake out when people are walking through Expo, like, oh, yeah, sorry, I can't come over right now, because if you're not careful, your people are standing there just like waiting for people, and so there's a balance of being inviting and looking like you're busy and all that, but also ready to catch somebody's eye and bring them over with a really strong statement. So it's not just two people waiting and standing there. That there's a lot that goes into this that can make it more effective, and so you aren't missing out on those opportunities because people aren't afraid of you because you're not just staring at them as they're walking by.
You mentioned fishing for people.
Exactly. Yeah. They walk by and there's like a worm hanging in front of them. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm a little turned off. You mentioned swag earlier, Bree. Wanted to just touch on that. Like, is swag still a thing? Like, part of me wants it to go away because I feel like it's, too much, but then part of me knows it's still there. What's your feelings on swag? We do virtual swag now, which I kind of like. It's like, hey, if you want swag, we're here for you.
And it's
And
like
people
a
can still bring
raffle.
swag too, but
Yeah, a raffle, and then you list your booth number in there so attendees know where to find you right when they enter the conference.
Yeah.
Beth, where do you land on swag? Are you, do you have a warehouse somewhere in your backyard that's like just
You
stuff
you mean my
for the
basement?
Yeah.
My basement and my garage, and my
Yeah,
husband was
yeah.
like, "So what do we plan on doing with this?" I was like, "Yeah,
It'll be
it's
here
a hang."
forever.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still all for the swag, but I'm all about like, let's make it different. Let's make it something we have. Like this is one of my proud moments. I did a basketball theme and I made it basketball swag and everything was gone. And so
Yeah.
like we gave them these t-shirts, like we did a whole little system. We had little basketball stress balls, a water bottle, like all these
Nice.
things. And it was fantastic. Like also, I actually have it right next to me. I have little ducks. We're going on a duck tour. We call it the Duck Army. We put them everywhere. And especially in Microsoft and EMEA, they know all about this. And they're like, it became a whole thing, like a scavenger hunt. One of our partners did it on their own. So if you have the right swag, great. Like another show was in Texas. So everyone, they had the cowboy hats. Another show, I'm about to be in Orlando next week. And I'm like, trying to convince my team, I want the mini ears. And they're like, no. I'm like, it's going to happen. But I'm like, make it fun. So I'm
Yeah.
for swag, but I also like tchotchkes. I'm the wrong person to ask.
There you go. Yeah, you're
I-
right there. Regardless, you're taking him anyway.
I love this question because I
Me
have
too.
two answers. There's the dynamic web answer, and then there's like me personally. So because at Dynamics Con last year, it was partnered with Anovia Con. And at the end of Anovia Con, I did like this little, I don't know if you guys ever saw on LinkedIn, but I did a little contest where I like found everyone's swag and I like I basically judged them and I was like, which is the best swag? But I did it based on like practical use, but then also like intentionality, like who has the best story here. And there were a lot of really good options. I think there's the issue with swag is like, do we have enough room in our like luggage to bring it back? A lot of the times, no. Like it depends on what you're talking about. Most of these shows were coming with like a travel carry on, and I don't personally ever have room to bring it back. So, but I want to take it. I love I love the idea of it. And
Yeah.
the practical use, like Dynamic Web we do things that are related to our product. So we have like cord holders or we have cord organizers, like things that would have to do with like computers is something that we do. And a lot of times people take our items at the end of the shows. We usually don't have anything left because it's practical. People actually don't like, most people don't go out and buy cord holders or the cord
Right.
organizers or the holders, but those are
Yeah.
like little practical things that you can use. And then of course like pens and other items like hand sanitizer. But yeah, I love when companies are super intentional or they have like a theme that goes along with their company. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever heard of the company Insight Works, but
They're
they have
animals.
little teddy bears and they're like each have a nickname like I don't know, production platypus or something like that. Like,
Right.
and they're all related to their industries. And so
Yeah.
I think they won or they were at least high ranking in my contests. But I love swag like that personally.
Awesome.
Well, actually, so Alana, I remember you doing that contest and it stuck with me because I distinctly remember like asking about one of our swag items and you had said that we got an honorable mention, like, because we were further away and you said they were heard about down here. And I was like, great.
Yeah.
Mind you, that was not a swag item I would have cared about, but I was like, you remember us. That's what it matters.
Funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Being
also
memorable.
have two answers. One of them's I hate swag from a personal perspective. I think sustainability wins out for me most times.
Yeah.
Really like, so one publisher, SAP, their conferences, they actually don't allow you to have paper or swag at your booths for their event. And I actually really like that because it makes you work really hard at brand awareness because you just have your booth and your people, right? You don't
Yeah.
have the come talk to us because we have this cool gadget. And then just environmentally, I like that. But the answer that I will give you on the NetStock side is we do kind of what Alana was saying, which we have a very themed booth experience. You guys will remember the Dr. Coates and Dr. Proctor last year.
Yep.
Well, this year we're off to the races and helping you build a rally car where you can see, your ERP's the rear view mirror, you're the driver, and we're helping you build the car, right? So
Yeah.
I've got more checkerboard things than ever. We're giving away tire pressure gauges and stress balls that are gas tanks, like just little cutesy things that like go in the theme, but
Yeah.
it's still not at like the excess level that I've seen in some. And I feel comfortable giving away those things because they're like, there's one cutesy thing and then they're usable, you know? Or
Yeah.
like our clips, everybody has
Yes,
these. I don't know
have one.
anybody who doesn't have this
Those
clip.
are invaluable.
Oh,
Yes,
the
to
clips
clip
are
your
right.
chips. Yeah,
But-
I've got
Right?
like every chip bag I have in life has some type of branded chip clip
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
When I gave notice at my last job, they were like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Here, I'm going here. I have all their swag already."
Yeah.
But that's kind of my stance on swag. So
I've seen
Yeah,
some
and
sponsors.
Go
I was
ahead,
gonna
Bree.
say I see some sponsors even doing like experience giveaways, like
yeah,
the
that's
airline voucher, the spa, like go to Dynamics Con and go to a spa after to recharge. So I think
Yeah,
that's a
that's
good way
fun.
to tie in branding too without, being wasteful or whatever.
Tchotchking it
Yeah.
up, because there still are the people that, like, Beth, who said, I'm an enthusiast.
totally.
I hire a Sherpa to follow me around to keep all my swag with me so I don't have to carry it because I've got that
Yeah.
much. I need this in my life. Also, if anybody out there listening, if you're really good at Power Pages, I'm thinking like at the end of these events, you could go around and collect all the swag and sell it at cost. And it's like, sure, you're throwing that away. I'll take it for free and put it up on my website real quick and pay for my way home. So anybody looking for a side gig out there, I'm giving that one out for free. What about use of social media leading up to it? Do you guys, is that a big part of your booth branding, like trying to drive people ahead, getting that brand awareness ahead of an event, or is it something you don't do? Alana, let's start with you and see what you have there.
Sorry.
Yeah, we definitely make sure to promote the event. I won't say that we have like a campaign related to our events just because, each month we have the amount of different marketing things that we're promoting is it would be a lot when we have like 3 or 4 events a month too. So we don't do, but we will post at least once beforehand and we'll let everyone know where the location of our booth, and if we have a speaking session, like we'll make sure to have that information available on social
Mhm.
media. But yeah, I don't think I mean, and I think it's something to think more into and look more into is like, maybe having an actual campaign around it. And we do send out an email to all of our, to the right list of
Yeah.
whoever related to that event. So,
It's
yeah.
like you go into the expo hall, go left, you'll see Sam because she's already taken the first left spot, and then work your way around and you'll see me.
Yep. We do the typical like post graphic design thing with our photos on it, say where to find us. I'm personally kind of over that. I like the like user generated piece of content for it.
Mhm.
Like there's one event coming up that's all partners and I'm on a social committee for it and we're just making videos about people's experiences at that event and just like using those to drive people to come and attend. Like
Yeah.
what are your 20 stories of 20 years kind of thing? And I think that's more interesting and engaging to drive event attendance than the, hey, this is my face, come see me at booth 204. I think there are some people who consume content like that on LinkedIn still, so I do think there's a ton of value in it. It's just a matter of how I kind of think of how do we want to present ourselves as a brand on LinkedIn and how do we want to show up at the event? Are they the same? Because it's not the same to come to a NetStock booth and see us say, hey, we're NetStock, hello. It's more like, oh, hello, hi, we're NetStock. Here's this cool stuff. Here's these fun things we're doing. And that doesn't come across in just a flat graphic post, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. We're doing all three. No,
Yep.
or other things. Like, so we're trying to do that video combination. We're doing those posts, but then at the same time, I'm also making them hit the ground doing like the social selling of, or
Totally.
also like, I'm very much like, go into that event or prospecting. That's the word I'm looking for. Go into that event, hashtag, look who's posting, look who's going, and start sending them messages. So
Yep.
we very heavily, especially if there's no event app or it doesn't come out till a week before, we have the team like early on saying, like sending out LinkedIn messages, we're going to be here. Are you there? Come stop by the booth. We'd love to meet you. This is what we're doing. So I kind of pushed that more, and then I am getting that requisite post out, but we have so many events to Alana's point. So
exactly.
I've also like tomorrow I have something going out of you will find all these people across the country in March. Like,
Exactly.
Here you go.
Yeah.
As a part of Dynamics Con sponsorships package, we give most of our exhibiting sponsors get free customer passes as well as invite codes to Dynamics Con. And even this year, we have something called like the Invite Challenge. So sponsors give the invite codes to their customers, and the sponsor with the most invite code uses, we're going to host a networking dinner for them. So taking advantage of opportunities like that, can really work to your advantage, and like utilizing people at the conference, like if you wanted to check in with me and see who used my invite code, how many uses do I have, stuff like that to, better market. You could even use it on social, email. So, yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned, so you got a lot of theming. Is everybody theming your booths? Like Beth, are you theming your booth this year? Or like, it sounds like Sam, you got an annual theme crawling across all the booths. Beth, are you doing something similar or theming for the year?
No, so we're kind of doing like for each, and I'm really kind of doing it depending on the location or that show. So this basketball theme, like that was specific to that show. We're trying something new, but because of how well we presented, that organizing committee actually came to us asking us about a sponsorship for their other shows, and so we're now continuing it throughout because everyone's like, oh, we know you as the basketball people now.
Yeah.
So we're continuing that there, but I have a specific theme for a show coming up in a month that I don't want to say yet. I kind of want it to be a surprise.
Yeah, you got to hold some things close to the. Yeah, you can't spoil things.
But I'm kind of doing it by show.
Ooh, coming in a month. I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that drop.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't have, we're pretty I guess old school in a sense. We don't always have like creative themes that go along with e-commerce, but at least since I've been here. But I would say like last year at one of the events we did, like I said, the dynamic duos, and I think we want to evolve that into another photo booth at the next event. So I get to play with that, and since I've been there for a year, I've been able to see what other partners are doing, and so now I get to be creative and bring that to the next event. So we'll see what we do for Dynamics Con.
And even when you do repeat things, I mean, we know that these events are churned. I mean, there's a lot of returning people. Like if you look at Dynamics Con, for instance, they'll have, we'll get a large percentage of people have never been before. So they haven't seen the cool Dynamics duo or the basketball. Other people are looking forward to it. So you'll always have a mix there too, which is kind of cool. Some people are like, I can't wait to get to the basketball place, like you said. So I want to get another one for my other kid or whatever. That there's always people kind of excited about that, and a few people that might be like, oh, the basketball thing again. But I think it's usually less of those and more. Yeah, they don't deserve to be there anyway. We just kick them out. It's like, sir, yeah, you're too dour.
Go to the right side of the expo, please.
Exactly. Yeah, you go to the right of the expo hall and you stay there. Sorry. Yeah, I think where I've been in this before too has been very similar. It's been kind of by event with some thematic elements. Ellipse did a Microsoft Millionaire, and they still do it, but they kind of took it off of their event branding for a while just because it had gotten a bit stale. And they felt like, hey, we're going to move on to something else. Lastly, they did like a blackjack table, which was cool, and they gave away cards that were branded. Cool. So it was, to your point, yeah, just something a little bit different, and I think went over really well. So Bree, what about just in general? Do you see that as kind of the cross section too? Like some people doing the same stuff, because we've had booths and spaces, so it feels like we're kind of seeing probably a mix.
Yeah, I think that I have seen some sponsors like theming works really well for them, like Avalera with their relaxation station. Avalera, they're doing, like that's the stuff that like really works well for them, especially like at Dynamics Con. But like there's so many opportunities with Dynamics Con sponsorship packages to get like an add-on, like a character artist or headshots, and like tying that add-on into your theming. So yeah.
Yeah, so keep that in mind that these events have, the smaller ones probably not. Like you mentioned, Sam, earlier, going to the small ones are really good though for relationship building, for building that foundation with with partners and users, and then that carries over to the larger events. But so they're not going to have those add-on sponsorships likely, but the bigger events like SAP, they're going to have these other little bits and pieces that you can find ways to brand out as well. So keep those in mind. Make sure you're kind of seeing the full slate.
Yeah. Well, actually, another thing, since Bree, you mentioned Avalera, I think Avalera and I think Orange They just have that down.
Yeah.
I see yous and I
Yeah.
think pink, like ellipse
Same.
purple, like the colors, having your
Yes.
color, your uniform, that is so key. Like, so with our basketball example, the team, we all had these on the back. It says exchange for our partner program, but we also had jerseys because we brought a basketball
The
hoop up on
jerseys are
stage.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we went with that. So like having that specific theme to stand out, I think that's huge. Just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
a great identifier.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to ask a quick question. This is another kind of, curveball, but what's the number one mistake you should avoid? Sam, what do you think?
Bringing the wrong people. Oh, scary. Bringing the wrong people. I, again, a little bit of a stickler on events, as you can hear. Just because somebody wants to go doesn't mean they deserve to go. Just because
the
they
right
always
person.
go doesn't
Yeah.
mean they should go, right? When it comes to planning out the like account managers and account executives and channel managers, I have been in organizations where you have to get a certain number of set meetings or you do not get to go anymore. So that sometimes comes up to right before the event and it's like, you didn't get any partner meetings scheduled, then we're going to go ahead and take back your participation. And while that sounds harsh, I think it really helps drive the right people at your booth doing the right work. So yeah, just what levers do you have in place as an organization to select the right people? I know I've been in organizations and even me personally, sometimes I know I'm not the right person to go to a show, but I want to go. So sometimes you
want to
have
go
to
to
give
everyone.
that up.
Yeah.
I want to go to every single one. Like some of my coworkers are in Denver and in all kinds of places, and I'm so jealous, but I'm like, you don't need to go. And there's a difference between needing to go and wanting to go that I think can be detrimental to the amount of money you spend on shows. So making sure you have the right people, whatever way that you figure that out within your organization, have at it. But I think that's a critical mistake that people can make.
Yeah.
Or
Good
not
one.
having the right goals for those people when they do come.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get channel managers who come and they're never at the booth, which is their job, but then you have nobody at the booth except for the one person who's chained there, right?
Yeah.
Can't even go to the restroom because they're chained. So making sure everybody has an equal understanding of like responsibilities.
Yep.
Who's doing what when? What's the schedule?
Love it. Beth, how
That
about you?
piggybacks off
I think
what I was gonna say.
just a really basic one is making sure most of us all work remote, making sure that you ship things on time. We have been to an event where Sam was there. Our items like didn't get and they didn't come. And so
It just happened to us.
they didn't come and at the the turnkey ones it's obviously you're not going to have this issue but and especially with tables shipping your items in advance and making sure that the shipping company actually delivers it are just that will minimize your stress a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
under communication and under preparing, that I think that's a huge one. Like you got to just over prepare, over communicate. Otherwise you'll get what Sam said of where is everybody? Like, why aren't you here? What's your schedule?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm stuck at the booth and I know about 10 words about what we do. I'm not the right person to be here,
Yeah, you got that person just looking really awkward and just like handing everybody off to Sam to let her take over.
And I'm like, nice to meet you. Hi.
I said that to my team literally yesterday. I was like, I need to know your schedule next week. I was like, you do not leave me alone at the booth. I was like, that is the deal. Don't leave me alone at the booth.
Yeah. Because that goes back to planning. There was a good theme through those answers, by the way, of planning ahead of time, because you don't want to have like everybody going to lunch at one time or or have meetings and all of a sudden you are left with a booth when it's crush time and you've got somebody who's not as knowledgeable, and then you're losing out on opportunities that are gold. I mean, it's like you paid a lot of money and put a lot of time into this. You want to make sure you're maximizing it. So yeah, good answers for sure.
Yeah.
We got about 5 minutes. We can break in if there's any questions, but just real quickly, kind of bringing us all the way home. So now we're done with the event. There's that after part of the like post-mortem meetings, whatever, that you get together. What's that like for you, Beth? And your team when the event's over. Does that happen right away? What's that process like for you?
Yes, we're still refining it. So we did so much planning for this event in September. We had great event, and then right afterwards we didn't have a proper post-event. Like maybe 2 weeks later, we had the post-event call, but then it was like, what about the leads? So for the immediate next event, we immediately implemented every day for 2 weeks. We are having a stand-up to walk through what the actual leads are, where the meetings are, what's in the pipeline, what's happening, to follow through and keep on it. And we also have a Microsoft Teams chat solely to follow up. And it's like, is this scheduled? Is this documented? Is this happening? So we're refining that, but that has really been like the biggest learning point for us of, yeah, you did all this prep beforehand, but now it's like, what's the pipeline? That's what
it goes back into your points of over preparing too, because you want the people talking to folks putting in proper notes so you know what to do with these. It's not just Beth Clarkin. Like, I don't know who talked to her. I don't know. Do you do? I didn't do it. And then you don't know what to even do with this person. So it's kind of, it makes it harder. But it's like Beth really wanted to talk about this, or she wasn't as interested in that. You know, you have some, some good solid notes is important for people to get into those systems.
So with that actually goes to the event scanner. So there's like a bunch of caveats with that. First of all, you need to make sure you name all the scanners so you know who scanned it. You need to make sure you're doing the notes. And I had notepads. I have it right next to me. We bought them specifically. Rocketbooks, they're awesome. Use these as a branding swag tool. They're fantastic. Bought them to write the notes. We realized that it was longer. It was just a lot easier to type. But if someone's free, stand next to them and be their scribe. So that way, like, that person can focus on the conversation. Yeah. And I said to them also, you need notes or I'm not putting this in. Like, I need those notes so that it all comes.
That's a great idea. Tag team, just like, hey, if you're there and you got a person that's free, just have that. Again, it's almost, you don't have to turn around and ask, hey, Sam, can you come take notes? You just give her that eye and she knows, like, if I give you the eye, you need to slide over here and do this. It's more kind of in concert.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, my daily postmortem is the start of that. So every single day I'm saying high, low. So I've already got notes on like, what are our top 5 to 10 conversations we had Monday? And on Tuesday morning, we're talking to the sales team who's taking those on, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing those
right in the moment.
Like, what's your follow-up plan for this? And then we do 2 different postmortem meetings, one that's like a few days after, one that's 2 weeks after. And then I have a Salesforce dashboard that I follow that I can just toggle between each event and say, for Dynamics Con this year, here's how many scans we got, here's how many leads we got, here's how many pipeline opportunities, where they sit, who the AEs are, what the partners are, all of that stuff in one place that I, every single week when I talk to the channel manager, pull it up.
Yeah.
What's it like over there at Dynamic Web?
Yeah, it's very similar to what they just mentioned. We have our post-event strategy in the sense that we'll all meet. It depends if it's an event that is in person, and like a long, obviously they're in person, but if it's a long week, and we have like a conference room or something, our team might use that as an opportunity to get together in person. But if not, we'll have a follow-up meeting all together. We'll go down the list. We'll go down the notes. We'll see who's the best person to follow up, who either they had a conversation with them, or maybe it's our salesperson, or it's a partner, it's our channel manager. And so it's not like we're still refining it, kind of like Beth said. It's definitely an account-based type of outreach afterwards. But yeah, we're definitely making sure that because that's the point of these events for us. Like we brand awareness is very, very important, but a lot of times this is how we're generating a lot of leads. And sometimes we get those events where we get the whole list, and we have a BDR outreach strategy as well.
Totally.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, those are all important points. I mean, again, you paid for this experience. You want to take advantage of it. The preparation sounds like a pretty key element, whether you're doing it in the moment like Sam or after the fact when you're all settled, but knowing who took the lead, getting the notes, having these things settled beforehand. So again, it's not, if you wait to the moment, I guarantee you're not going to get half the stuff done you want to get done, because it just gets too crazy and you just can't catch up with it fast enough. So even when you're preparing, it's going to get crazy. So just, over prepare, like Beth said, because I think that's so important.
Yeah, you want to get the most value you can get out of the event. Like you want to get all that value. So prepare as much as possible.
And just like anything else, if you've given a speaking session, you don't typically walk in and just start speaking. You prepare ahead of time because you want to get the best out of this. And you want to be comfortable. And the same when you're in a booth. You want to be there and not concerned about what am I supposed to be doing. It's just like already muscle memoried in. You're just there in the moment, enjoying the conversation, building the relationship. But the other things are happening because you've just done such a good job preparing that you're just right there with it.
Good, yeah.
Totally.
Awesome. We do have a little bit of time left. We could keep talking all day long, I think. I mean, we had a bunch of topics thrown on paper and we got to a lot of them, but there's so much to talk about in this process. But if there are any questions, Ryan, I didn't see anything crop up in chat, but if you want to come off mute and ask a question, happy to have you do that, or pop one in the chat as well. Otherwise, it was such a fun conversation. I appreciate everybody coming together. It was a whirlwind because Sam was just coming in, and if you've seen her on LinkedIn, she was celebrating her birthday out in Hawaii, which is awesome. Bree just had a birthday too. You guys lined up pretty close. It must be within a couple of days of each other, birthday wise. So yeah, exactly. And Bree's on a beach right now. If you took her background away, normally you put a beach background, like you're putting that as your backdrop. She actually has a real beach behind her right now because she's joining us from Florida. And Alana and Beth, thank you so much for joining us here. I don't see any other questions, so unless anybody has any parting thoughts, I just again say thank you and look forward to seeing you at the next event and seeing what Beth has upcoming and being a part of the experience that you all are creating out there. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. That was a great conversation.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.